Finn Balor to quit after another failure. New member revealed by Liv Morgan. The Judgment Day storyline on WWE Raw continues to captivate fans, with tensions between the faction's members escalating week by week. This week, Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor's heated altercation added more fuel to the fire. When Dirty Dom suggested expanding the group by adding a new member, Balor firmly rejected the idea, emphasizing his sole focus on winning the world title at WrestleMania 41. This conflict, paired with the faction's increasing tension, hints at significant future developments within the Judgment Day. We explore 3 potential directions the faction could take following this week's Raw, each with its own intriguing ramifications. 1. Dominic Mysterio's costly mistake, backfiring during Balor's match. One of the most compelling directions WWE could take involves Dominic Mysterio unintentionally sabotaging Finn Balor's chance at securing a spot in the Elimination Chamber. Balor, who is set to face Seth Rollins in a highly anticipated Elimination Chamber qualifying match, has a lot at stake. A win would place him on the path to securing a world title shot at WrestleMania 41, but a loss could send him spiraling into further frustration. The plot could thicken with Dominic attempting to help his fellow faction member during the match. Dirty Dom, always eager to prove himself, might try to interfere on Balor's behalf, believing his actions will give Balor the upper hand. However, the move could backfire dramatically. Instead of helping, Dominic's interference could distract Balor at a crucial moment, allowing Seth Rollins to capitalize and score the win. This sequence of events would serve as the perfect catalyst for further intensifying the rift within the Judgment Day. Balor, already irritated by Dominic's brashness and lack of experience, would have more reason to lash out. Meanwhile, Dirty Dom would likely face backlash, not only from Balor but also from the faction's other members, including Liv Morgan. WWE would have the opportunity to build a bigger storyline, escalating tensions within the faction until it reaches its boiling point. With the Judgment Day on the verge of disintegrating, the inevitable clash between its members could become one of the most anticipated storylines on WWE Raw. 2. Liv Morgan's bold move, adding a new member to the faction. Finn Balor has always been adamant about not expanding the Judgment Day with new members. As the leader of the faction, he believes the group's core is strong enough without additional help. However, with Balor's intense focus on securing a spot in the Elimination Chamber, he may lose sight of the bigger picture. If he fails to qualify for the match, it could set the stage for an even bigger shakeup within the faction. Liv Morgan, Balor's on-screen love interest, has shown a willingness to take control of the faction in his absence. If Balor's loss in the Elimination Chamber qualifier leads to his frustrations boiling over, Morgan could take it upon herself to make decisions that Balor might not approve of. Instead of waiting for Balor to step up and assert his dominance, Morgan could introduce a new member to the Judgment Day. This potential addition would mark a major turning point for the Judgment Day. Liv, who has enjoyed significant success in her own right as a former women's world champion, could bring a fresh dynamic to the faction, potentially even adding someone who could further fuel the faction's rise to power. The idea of Liv Morgan taking matters into her own hands would undoubtedly spark heated debates among fans, with many eager to see what direction she would take. Her decision to introduce a new member could be a game-changing moment for the faction. 3. The final breakup. The Judgment Day faces its breaking point. If the tensions within the Judgment Day continue to build without resolution, the faction could be heading for an explosive breakup. Dominic Mysterio's actions have already tested the limits of his relationship with Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan's increasingly dominant presence could be the last straw. With Balor focused on his singles ambitions and the group's cohesion hanging by a thread, the possibility of a full faction implosion becomes a distinct possibility. The breakup of the Judgment Day would create multiple intriguing storylines for each member. Finn Balor could go on a solo run, potentially feuding with members of his former faction, including Dominic. On the other hand, Liv Morgan could further solidify herself as a top force in the women's division, perhaps even using her power within the Judgment Day to further her own agenda. Dominic, meanwhile, could be left in the middle, torn between his loyalty to the group and his growing desire for more individual success. A breakup of this magnitude would have widespread consequences throughout WWE Raw. The power vacuum left by the Judgment Day's collapse would create room for new rivalries to form, while also setting the stage for fresh alliances and challenges. Conclusion: the future of the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day storyline is brimming with potential, with each member's actions continuing to shape the direction of the faction. Whether it's Dominic Mysterio's costly interference, Liv Morgan taking control of the faction, or the ultimate breakup of the group, WWE has multiple paths to explore. The rising tensions between Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Liv Morgan create a thrilling mix of drama, and fans can expect plenty of twists and turns in the weeks ahead. One thing is clear: the Judgment Day's future on WWE Raw is anything but predictable. Finn Balor's potential split from the Judgment Day, the road to WrestleMania 41. In recent weeks, a growing divide within the Judgment Day faction has started to surface, with Finn Balor appearing to be increasingly isolated from the rest of the group. The faction, which has thrived on its unity and dominance, seems to be on the brink of a major shift. The most striking development is Balor's apparent isolation with J.D. McDonough, the only one who has truly stood by him, currently sidelined due to an injury. This leaves Balor standing alone, while the other members of the Judgment Day seem to be aligning with one another, creating the perfect storm for a potential split. The tension has been building, and there's a very real possibility that Finn Balor might choose to leave the Judgment Day in the coming months. A key trigger for this could be his potential loss in an upcoming match, which might lead to an even more significant power struggle within the faction. Liv Morgan, a powerhouse in her own right, could step up to assert her dominance, proving herself as a far more capable leader than Finn's approach ever was. Morgan's rise to prominence would set the stage for a dramatic shift in the faction's power dynamics, leaving Balor frustrated, sidelined, and increasingly alienated from the group he helped form. If the scenario plays out, Balor's ego and frustration with being pushed to the sidelines could lead him to make a bold decision: to walk away from the Judgment Day. Feeling betrayed and overshadowed by Morgan's assertiveness and the unity of the faction members, the former Universal Champion might make his exit. The decision would mark a major turning point for Balor's character and allow WWE to capitalize on a storyline that sees the veteran wrestler returning to his roots as a singles competitor.